Welcome to Seeing Green Solutions for Our Daily Lives, the podcast where we spotlight the brands, ideas, and people making it easier to live sustainably every day. Today's episode is part of our Spotlight series, a deep dive into one of our Seeing Green Solutionists of the day. And now, today's solution.
Welcome to the Seeing Green Spotlight series.
Yep, this is where we take a closer look at our Seeing Green Solutionist of the day.
Exactly. And the real solutions they're bringing to help us all be, healthier and greener in our daily lives. Today, we're doing a deep dive into an area that I think many of us know has a pretty big environmental footprint.
Oh, for sure.
But we really want to unpack the true scale of that impact and also look at some really cutting-edge solutions.
Right, we're talking about clothes, fashion.
We are. The clothes we wear, and we'll be spotlighting our featured solutionist, Make the Label.
And we should probably say up front, when we say mate, it rhymes with date or late.
Good point. Mate the Label, not Maddie.
Right. And it's true. For anyone really trying to live a greener life, fashion is, well, it's a tricky area. A paradox almost.
How so?
Well, we wear clothes every single day, right?
Yeah.
But we often don't think too much about the hidden costs, the impact behind the convenience. So our mission today is really to give you a good understanding of those challenges, but maybe more importantly, highlight the innovative brands like Mate who are stepping up to meet them, to show how conscious consumers, people looking for simplicity, comfort, traceability, how you can actually make a difference.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We all try to make greener choices, maybe with food or energy, but our wardrobe, sometimes it feels like an overlooked battleground.
It often is.
And the fashion industry, especially with this whole fast fashion thing, it's just ballooned, hasn't it? It's got this massive and kind of pervasive environmental footprint. Just how big are we talking?
It's huge. It really touches almost every part of the planet. Maybe let's start with the materials themselves, the actual fabric.
Okay, makes sense.
Think about conventional cotton. We think of cotton as natural, right?
Yeah, usually.
But growing it conventionally uses an incredible amount of pesticides. It leads to soil degradation, serious water pollution.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
Wow, okay, so cotton isn't automatically good?
Not conventional cotton, no. And then you've got the synthetic fibers like polyester, nylon.
The stuff in workout clothes a lot of the time?
Exactly. And those are essentially plastic-based. The big worry there, beyond just being made from fossil fuels, is microplastics.
Yeah.
Every time you wash those clothes.
They shed tiny bits of plastic.
Yep. Tiny fibers that go down the drain, into our waterways, into the oceans. It's a persistent, long-term problem, a huge environmental toll.
So it's not just making the material, it's also what happens after we own it. And it's not just the fibers themselves, is it? Making the fabric, making the actual garment, that takes a lot of resources too.
Oh, absolutely. Textile production, dyeing the fabric.
Yeah.
These are notoriously energy and water-intensive processes.
Like how much water are we talking?
Well, just to give you a kind of stark example, making a single pair of conventional jeans, it could take thousands of liters of water.
Thousands for one pair of jeans.
Yeah. It's staggering. And beyond the water and energy, the industry relies really heavily on a whole range of toxic chemicals and dyes.
Toxic.
We're talking carcinogens, endocrine disruptors, chemicals that mess with our hormones, and other pretty hazardous substances.
And that affects...
Well, it impacts the health of the garment workers, the local communities where production happens.
Yeah.
And it pollutes ecosystems when that wastewater gets discharged into rivers and soil. It's not great.
Okay, so we've got the farming, the fiber creation, the dyeing, the sewing, and then these clothes travel all over the world, right?
That's another critical point, global supply chains.
How big a deal is the shipping?
It's significant. You might have raw materials sourced from one continent, processed in another, sewn into clothes somewhere else entirely.
And then shipped again to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All that transportation generates serious carbon emissions, directly contributing to climate change. And this whole complex polluting system, it's really amplified by this cultural shift towards disposability, what people call fast fashion.
Ah, yes, fast fashion. We've all seen it, right? Clothes that are so incredibly cheap. You feel like you can just wear them once or twice and then, toss them. It's this constant churn of new trends pushing us to just buy more and more.
Precisely, that wear-it-once mentality.
Yeah.
And often there's this designed obsolescence built in.
Meaning they're made to not last?
Kind of, or at least made so cheaply they quickly lose appeal or just fall apart.
Yeah.
The quality just isn't there for longevity. It ensures you keep coming back for the next new thing.
Which leads to the end of the line for the garment.
And unfortunately, that usually means the landfill in absolutely staggering quantities.
How much actually ends up there?
The vast majority of textiles. It's a huge contributor to waste and pollution. Those synthetic fibers we mentioned, they can take decades, even centuries, to decompose.
Wow.
And even natural fibers, if they've been treated with all those chemicals, can leach problematic stuff into the soil and groundwater. It's this very linear cycle. Extract, pollute, consume, waste. Massive waste.
That sounds pretty bleak. It feels like such an overwhelming challenge.
It's a huge challenge.
But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting and hopeful. Amidst all this, there's this new wave of apparel innovators stepping up.
There really is.
They're seeing these problems and actively working on solutions. So what does that actually look like? How are brands changing their whole approach?
What's fascinating is that the mindset of these sustainable innovators is really rooted in reversing those exact negative impacts we just talked about.
Okay.
They're not just making like small tweaks around the edges. They're fundamentally rethinking the entire life cycle of a garment, from the initial idea right through to what happens after you're done with it.
So less about just making clothes, more about designing for a totally different outcome.
Exactly. A really core strategy is designing for durability.
Making things last.
Right. Prioritizing quality goods. Things that are meant to last, not just be trendy for 5 minutes. They're often creating more sort of seasonless styles, things you can wear every day, year-round.
Pieces you'll actually love and keep for a long time.
That's the goal. Shifting away from that fleeting trend cycle towards timelessness, intrinsic value. It's about aiming for those well-loved, well-worn pieces.
That definitely seems powerful. But how do you actually change people's habits when new and cheap is so, ingrained from fast fashion?
It's definitely a challenge, but brands are showing it's possible. A lot of it is through storytelling, educating consumers about the long-term value.
Okay.
And often, they highlight this idea of cost per wear.
Ah, right. If something lasts way longer.
Exactly. You naturally buy less overall, which means less production, less waste. If a quality shirt costs more up front, but you wear it hundreds of times over years, the cost per wear can actually be lower than a cheap shirt that falls apart after a few washes.
That really shifts the perspective. Okay, so durability is key. What about the materials themselves? How are innovators tackling those pesticide-heavy cotton fields or those plastic synthetics?
That's another huge area of focus, a big shift towards sustainable natural materials.
Like what?
Innovators are choosing things like organic cotton, linen, hemp, materials with significantly lower environmental impacts compared to the conventional options.
So less pesticide use, maybe less water.
Often, yes. And supporting healthier soil, healthier ecosystems.
And you mentioned all those toxic chemicals and dyes earlier. That sounded pretty bad. How are these brands tackling that?
It's crucial. Sustainable brands are actively eliminating harmful chemicals. They often have really strict restricted substance lists, things they absolutely will not use.
Okay.
They're using non-toxic dyes, sometimes even natural dyes derived from plants. This protects the environment, sure, but also the workers making the clothes, and ultimately you, the person wearing it, making sure there are no carcinogens, no endocrine disruptors, none of that stuff in the final product.
So they're rethinking the inputs, the manufacturing, but what about that end-of-life problem, the landfill issue? How do they stop clothes from just ending up there?
That's where circular services come in. This is a really exciting area.
Circular, meaning?
Keeping things in use, closing the loop. So innovators are implementing things like repair programs to help you extend the life of your clothes.
Okay, I like that.
Some are doing rental models, especially for things you might only wear once or twice. And importantly, take back and recycling initiatives.
So you can send your old clothes back to them.
Exactly. The goal is to keep garments out of landfill entirely. Give them a new life, whether through repair, maybe resale, or breaking them down mechanically or chemically to create new materials for new clothes. It's this really holistic approach.
It's definitely one thing to talk about these principles, but seeing them all work together in practice, that's really cool.
It is.
And that brings us right to our solutionist of the day, Mate the Label. They're an LA-based clean fashion company, and their mission is pretty clear: to provide people everywhere with essentials that are clean from seed to skin.
And they really live that. Their whole approach embodies that clean from seed to skin idea.
Yeah.
Plus, their aesthetic is very, soft, neutral, focused on simplicity and comfort. Very wearable.
Yeah, they seem to really walk the talk. Their approach is guided by something they call the Mate 8, right? 8 core principles.
That's right. It guides pretty much everything they do. And their core offering is those elevated essentials, loungewear, activewear, everyday basics, things designed to be loved and worn again and again.
Okay, let's break down these Mate 8 principles because they seem to cover so much ground. What's the first one?
The first principle is clean, and they take this very seriously. Mate upholds a really strict list of restricted substances.
Like the ones you mentioned earlier, carcinogens, endocrine disruptors.
Exactly. They ensure those kinds of toxins are kept completely out of their supply chain and therefore off your body. This is a big deal because even some brands making eco claims might still use, questionable dyes or finishes.
Right.
By using organic materials and non-toxic dyes, Mate protects their customers, but also everyone involved in making the clothes. It's about genuine peace of mind.
Okay, clean. That makes sense, especially if you're investing in clothes you want to keep.
Precisely. Which leads right into their second principle, essential.
Okay.
Their belief is that one of the best ways to limit your impact is simply to buy quality goods that will genuinely last.
Back to durability.
Exactly. So they focus on creating those seasonless styles meant for everyday, year-round wear. Their designs, their colors, it's all geared towards becoming those well-loved, well-worn pieces that really stand the test of time. It's the direct opposite of fast fashion's planned obsolescence.
And I bet they emphasize that cost per wear idea we talked about.
They absolutely do. They're quite good at educating their customers about it, showing how that slightly higher upfront cost pays off massively when you're wearing something hundreds of times over several years. The true cost ends up being much lower. It really reframes value.
Okay, so clean and essential. What's number 3 in the Mate 8?
Number 3 is organic. This connects back to clean, of course. Mate uses organic yarns and dyes specifically to make sure people and the planet aren't exposed to harmful pesticides during cultivation. Choosing organic materials really improves the entire life cycle impact, from the farms to the garment workers handling the fibers to you wearing the final piece and even back to the soil eventually.
Can you give an example? Like what kind of organic items do they offer?
Sure. They have things like a GOTS certified organic linen midi skirt. GOTS is the global organic textile standard, a really tough independent certification.
Okay.
Or their organic comfort crop tank, which is like 95% organic cotton, designed as a staple. They even have a men's regenerative hemp tee.
Regenerative hemp. What's that?
Hemp is already a pretty low-impact fiber, but regenerative farming practices go further to actually improve soil health. Plus, hemp grows super fast and absorbs a lot of CO2 while it grows. It's a really interesting material choice.
That's really thinking through the whole cycle. Okay, beyond the environmental side, what about the people making the clothes, the human element?
That's principle number 4, ethical.
Okay.
When Mate talks about safe, comfortable, fair working environments, they mean throughout their entire supply chain, not just their HQ in LA.
So the farmers growing the cotton or hemp.
Yes. Farmers, garment workers, even the recyclers they partner with. Everyone has to be treated with respect, paid fairly. It also means making responsible choices about emissions, water use, chemical safety, things that directly impact worker health, and the communities where production happens.
And number 5 seems pretty straightforward from their story.
Yeah. Number 5 is women-centered. Mate was founded by women, it's run by women, and they focus on making products for all women through different stages of life. It's just core to who they are.
Okay, now for a big one. Plastic. We hear so much about microplastics, packaging waste. How does Mate handle the plastic-free challenge, especially in things like activewear, where plastic-based fibers are so common?
Right, that's their 6th principle, plastic-free.
Right.
And they are really committed. Their tagline is basically, life in plastic, not so fantastic.
Ah, like that.
They've eliminated all plastic in their labels and their packaging, which is already a pretty big step. But what's really impressive is their activewear line, Move by Mate. They limit spandex, which is a synthetic, to just 8%.
Only 8%? That seems really low for activewear.
It is. Typical activewear can easily be 20%, 30%, or even more synthetic stuff like polyester or nylon mixed with spandex. Mate deliberately avoids polyester, nylon, and polyamide entirely in all their products. It directly tackles those microplastic shedding issues we talked about earlier.
Wow. How do they make activewear that actually, works, that stretches and performs without all that usual synthetic content?
It's about really careful material science. They use innovative blends of natural fibers like organic cotton and tencel, which is derived from wood pulp, combined with just that tiny bit of spandex for stretch. They're proving you don't need clothes to be mostly plastic to be comfortable and functional for movement.
That's a major departure from the industry norm. Okay, what about closing the loop, that circularity idea?
That's number 7, circular. Mate really embraces this idea that the best products are the ones that can come back around.
So the take-back program.
Exactly. They have a recycling program where you can send back your old Mate clothes, and they work with partners to give them new life, ideally as another Mate product down the line.
That's great.
And maybe even cooler. They collect all the cutting scraps from their factories, the bits left over after cutting out pattern pieces.
Yeah, what do they do with those?
They incorporate them into new Mate products using mechanical fiber recycling. Basically, shredding those scraps back into usable fibers without harsh chemicals. It's truly closing the loop on manufacturing waste right at the source.
So they're not just saying they're sustainable, they're actually doing it and measuring it, which probably leads to the last principle.
It does. The 8th principle is certified. Mate gets that just claiming to be sustainable isn't enough. You need proof, data, science.
Right?
So they hold some really rigorous third-party certifications. They're climate neutral certified, meaning they measure, reduce, and then offset all their carbon emissions to achieve net zero. They've done that since 2021.
Impressive.
They're also GIOTS certified for their organic textiles, as we mentioned, and they're a certified B Corp.
B Corp meaning?
That's a certification for businesses that meet really high standards of social and environmental performance, public transparency, and legal accountability.
Yeah.
It looks at the whole company's impact.
Okay.
And what's also cool is they're still pushing. They even have a team of graduate researchers doing a full chemical analysis of their supply chain, always looking for ways to get even cleaner.
Wow. This really isn't just buzzwords, is it? It's a deep, verifiable commitment, truly from seed to skin.
Absolutely.
It makes me think of that quote from their founder, Katie Carr. She said, "Mate is on a mission to clean up the fashion industry, one garment at a time. As a business, we believe that prioritizing the health of the planet and its people is an urgent matter."
That really sums it up, doesn't it? It's an inspiring vision for how a company can actually drive change in a really challenging industry.
It absolutely is. They're leading by example, showing that clean materials, ethical production, circular thinking, it's not just wishful thinking.
No, it's achievable. These are business practices that can benefit everyone, the farmers, the workers, us as consumers, and the planet we all share. It shows how one brand's choices can ripple outwards and make a real positive impact.
Well, if you want to learn more about Mate, you can visit them at meetthelabel.com.
That's meetthelabel.com.
Interested in finding more brands and innovators dedicated to creating a greener, more sustainable world? Visit the Seeing Green website. You can see more trailblazers making significant strides in promoting eco-friendly living through innovative products, solutions, and practices. That's online at www.seeinggreen.eco.
And you can follow Seeing Green too, right?
Yep. Follow us at Seeing Green Eco across social media channels.
Great stuff.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Seeing Green Spotlight Series podcast.